animations that I've done. I thought I'd make a little tutorial on basically how to do camera movement. And what I like to do before I do most of my projects is I like to come into a new scene and I like to try to replicate what I'm going to do with simple puppets. And I thought I'd make a little tutorial this time around and show you how to do that. Right now I'm currently making an arcade mode for my game, and I'm doing like a little power-up cutscene. And I was trying to get a type of rotation around the character that I wanted to do, and it was driving me nuts. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I finally figured out how to do it by coming into here, and I just thought I'd make a little tutorial showing that off and how to basically do that for yourself. Now, this will be, I will try to make this I want to make this as easily accessible as possible, even for the people coming into Dreams. A few people told me that they want to get into Dreams. I want to say, yeah, Dreams right now is running at like $20 on a PlayStation Store, so it's very easy for you to get it. I realize that it could be also a little bit daunting to come into a new scene and see it all blank, and you see what other people make on Dreams, and like, oh man, it's, how do I make something and it's such all this space, you know, what do I do, where do I start? So I want to make it very easy for you to basically understand. So let's first get the camera out here and let's understand its settings. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to skip the first page and I'm going to go over here to turn off imps, hide imps. Your imp is basically your mouse, your little mouse with a face. This is mine. I'm going to just turn this off so that when I play time, it's not appearing in the scene. So yeah, if you don't, want to do that, you can also open up this global settings gadget here, and you can go into the settings here and you can hide imps by hitting allow imps and turning it off that way, in case you don't want to use it that way. What we're gonna do is, I want to basically show you how you can rotate the camera around a character. This was something that I had to learn how to do. I had to come in here and do it a couple ways. It was driving me nuts because I was trying to do it too many complicated ways, but there was a very simple way. I'm gonna lead up into that first though, actually. First, let me go over the basics. So let's say we want to do the classic two characters talking to each other. Like the camera will cut behind the character here, and then when that character is done talking, it'll cut the camera behind here. When you first snap the camera into Dreams, you can do it a couple ways. Let's say we'll take the camera, we'll put it in there, and it'll start it right here. So let's also make it a little bit easier to differentiate the two characters. That guy's blue, we'll make this guy red. Red guy was talking and he's done talking, so then it'll move behind blue guy and he'll be talking. So before we even play time, what I should do is go over the transitions type. So these are just different ways that the camera will move in and out of the scene depending on how you got it set up. Right now it is set to smooth. What's that gonna do is it's basically gonna look like this. Yeah, and we don't want that. We want it to cut. It's a little weird, but yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. So that looks like this. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, so red guy's talking, blue guy's talking. I don't have dialogue underneath here, so I'm just gonna have to imagine, red guy and blue guy talking to each other, but that's basically how we would get that camera angle. There's different ways to do it. We don't have to do it this way. What we could do is have keyframes. Now keyframes, for those that are new to Dreams, keyframes are basically ways that you animate your things. You can move around the puppet, like let's say right there. the puppet over here, you know, animate the puppet, you know, doing stuff. So basically keyframes are what we can use to move things. Now we can have it right here. When I stretch this keyframe out, it'll basically hold that position for about 1 second. It'll be shown right here on the timeline. So what we're gonna do is copy this keyframe now. We're going to bring it behind Blue Guy's shoulder. Remember, you want to make sure that it's set to cut for that type of transition. So now it looks like this. Same idea, camera behind the two characters when they're talking. So that's that kind of camera angle that you can get. Let's see here. Yeah. So yeah, I'll go over basically what I was trying to do earlier, which was get a rotation around the character. Now, I'm gonna go over my mistakes as well, just in case you try it a different way, or run into the same problem that I ran into. Now, what I was trying to do before was I was trying to take this camera here and rotate it this way. So I was using keyframes, and it makes sense to use keyframes to basically rotate the camera around the character. Here. So yeah, keyframe, let's say let's say it starts right here in front of the puppet. Actually, what will make it easier is if we copy this first keyframe and then edit it. So that it starts off right there where we have it originally. Yeah. And we'll do the same thing here for this keyframe that we just changed. And we'll continue to rotate it around the puppet. What we'll do is, since it started in front of the puppet, you see we're basically rotating around it. We're just going to copy this last keyframe so that it basically goes to the same spot that it was before. Now, the keyframes, basically they're taking the camera and it's rotating it around the puppet. You see this ring just showing the position where the camera is basically heading in. So yeah, it's basically rotating around it. So this is what it'll look like. See, it's not exactly moving the way, it's not smooth is what it is. Even when we set it to cut, you can still see it's not exactly a smooth transition. Yeah, it's not exactly a smooth rotation around the character, and it looks sound. It looks like it should act that way. You see the ring, like it's a perfect circle, like be going around the character. I don't know what's happening. So sometimes in Dreams, there's just sometimes things that look like they should work, but they don't. So what we're gonna do instead is create a camera rig. Now, in animation and in movies in general, people use camera rigs to basically achieve the different type of camera angles that they want and different camera movements. And we're gonna be doing the same thing here. Now, this is gonna take a little bit of logic, but it's not gonna be complicated. It's just gonna be very simple. What we're gonna do is take that cylinder that we have, and we're gonna get a microchip. And microchips basically are just spaces where you can put your logic in. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it right in our puppet. And if I play time, it's gonna collide with him. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn collidable off so that that doesn't happen when I play time. Now, the thing that you want is a rotation, right? First, we're going to put our camera in our microchip. We're going to, let's place it right here, that's fine. And what we're going to do is get a rotator. We're going to put it on the cylinder. And if I play time, this is how it's going to rotate. So yeah, you see the spinning circle right here. This is basically just how the object that it's attached to will rotate. To change that, what we're going to do is turn on grid snap so that it's when we move this gizmo here, all we got to do is just line it up there. It'll be basically a perfect way of lining it up. So now this gizmo on the bottom, the circle is basically turning this way, and that's what we want for a better rotation. Now we go to cut and we play time. This is the kind of rotation that we want. Now the cylinder obviously is in the way. We're just going to make it invisible. And yeah, it's a much smoother type of rotation than we had before, just using keyframes. And I'm gonna also turn off the ink as well. Yeah, it's a much more cleaner rotation around the character than using keyframes. We can make this a little bit more dynamic. Let's see what we could do. I'm gonna get out of timeline, and it doesn't matter if this camera is in the timeline or just in the microchip. As long as it's like connected to the cylinder that's rotating, it should be fine. But you know, to make it more clear, we'll keep it in the timeline because we did that with the other cameras. So yeah, what we could do to make this more dynamic, we'll combine what we did before with the keyframes. So we'll do something a little bit different. Let's have it move up the character while it's rotating. So we'll start at the feet, copy this keyframe here, let's say about, yeah, let me get that one. Let's say it's moving up the character to like face level. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, so that's a little bit more dynamic. Let's make it a little bit shorter. What I want to get is I want to get it to stop right at the face. So let's see how that works. All right. What we're going to do is once it reaches the face, we're going to turn off the rotator so that it just stops. So let's see. We'll just have that off. Okay, it starts at the back of the head. Let's play time and see. Just see where, at what point this camera will stop at the head. Stops right there. All right, that's at like 7 seconds